What's up, everybody? Welcome to Have You Seen This? Season 2, Episode 3. Uh, we were off last week. I woke up basically feeling like death, and I have learned my lesson, and I'm not going to talk shit about Moon Knight anymore, because
Oh.
every time we do, something goes wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And, no matter how much I love it, just don't talk shit about Moon Knight. We
Holy
will be
shit, you're
talking some
right.
Moon Knight later. But first, we got a little bit of news. We have there's some Jeopardy news to talk about that
Mm-hmm.
I've been really interested. I've been following along. I don't watch Jeopardy, but I have honestly followed a bunch of different people's runs through. Like, I'm I'm more interested in the stats, really.
Oh my god. All right.
Yes, I'm a weirdo.
Oh.
Uh, After that, we got a couple other things. We have some late show news, not the Late Show, but you just late night talk shows in general.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to spoil it yet because it's not a
Oh.
huge segment.
Uh,
And then we've got a little bit of that 70s show, that 90s show. There's a whole revival of that show. Uh, and
That's a Doctor Snark TV.
hey, I was gonna talk to him in a second. Gotta tell the audience what they're in for. And yeah, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about, what we're watching and then finish it up with some Moon Knight. But first, as always, we gotta say, how's it going, Rob?
It's going fine. I feel mighty today, like a mighty, majestic lion.
Yes, speaking of, what what certain people don't realize is I don't need to outrun a hippo. I just need to outrun Dave.
That's true. That is right. He's gonna trip you
Yeah,
though. Clever fucker.
he can try.
Oh.
All right. So yeah, if we can get into this in a second, let's actually start with the Late Show. The
Yeah.
James Corden is leaving the Late Show. Um, Honestly, this is interesting. I actually don't have the article, so I can't remember if it mentioned what he was planning on doing afterwards.
I
But
remember when he was first coming on though, he was never planning on doing it for too long
mm,
because he had his fingers in all these different pies or whatever. So
yeah, and honestly, that's what I think about when I think about the Late Show in particular, is
hmm
all of those little bits that they did and all of his like games that he thought of. And I
and
feel like James Corden could definitely find his own lane that isn't talk show host and is more towards that like carpool karaoke, as silly as it is really really fun. And if he just did that as and they literally
yeah, I was
made
gonna
it
say,
an
didn't they
entire
do that?
show at one point. And yeah, like, I don't know, there's definitely more showmanship things that he could do and bring to the table than just being a desk host.
I feel this is kind of like what the Late Show does, though, right? I don't think it really keeps anyone for massive amounts of time. I think Corden just had his
Mhm.
run. I guess Ferguson was on there for quite a while, but I remember back when Craig Kilborn was the host of the Late Show, was after he'd finished with the Daily Show. And that was still my favorite iteration of the Late Show was that those first few years with Kilborn. But I was never a big James Corden guy. But still to this day, when I think of James Corden, I think he's like the doctor's roommate. That's what I'll always remember James Corden as. I couldn't care less about pool karaoke or anything else he did. I've never watched any of them. Well, I got to see Cats. Lucky me, I saw Cats.
Oof, that's
That's it.
you shouldn't tell people that.
It's part of my therapy.
Oh,
I have
okay.
to admit, I've done these wrongs and watched Cats.
Wow.
hmm Cats
Uh,
like lions.
Hmm.
Easily,
Apparently,
easily
he turned down
succumbable lions.
apparently he turned down 40 UK million dollars.
40 million pounds.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
in order to they wanted him to stay.
Well, CBS had the cash. One
Does
day we'll
CBS
have to
have the
do. We're,
cash? It
oh
seems like
sure.
they're just
Oh,
throwing cash around.
aren't they the number one network? Like they get all their like the number one show in the world is 60 Minutes, and it costs them like $75 to produce every week.
Okay, that makes some sense then. But then it's also available
They
for
trick 'em.
free.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, there's advertising. Advertisers like to put their
Yes,
shit on
yes,
there.
yes.
It's like, oh, all these pills guys, I got to put their stuff on for 60 minutes. And I'm still the same. Like I keep looking when I remember when we were starting the show, and we was looking at like what are the number one shows uh in the U.S. or whatever on those Nielsen ratings. We talked about the Nielsen's. Number one, 60 Minutes, and then numbers 2 to 6 were like football games.
Mm.
So I was like, guys just fell asleep while the football game was on, and then 60 Minutes popped up, and because the 60 Minutes was national and all the other games were regional, 60 Minutes becomes the number one show. I'm sure that's how it happens. People just, unless you
Mm.
have to press a button every time, maybe they just shock themselves like, oh, hit the button every week for the last 50 years or whatever it's been. God damn, it's been a long time.
Okay. And yeah, so good luck to James Corden. I'm interested to
Sayonara.
see what he does next. And
We gotta do a thing where we just talk about the late shows, the new late shows, the older late shows. Why aren't
oh
people watching the
yeah,
late shows anymore? The best parts about late shows, like the best skits or the best segments and stuff. We'll do a show about that
mm,
coming up. I'd like that.
that
'Cause
actually does sound.
I used to be a huge late night guy, a huge Conan guy, Letterman before that. I even
Mm.
remember Johnny Carson. I remember The Thick of the Night with Alan fucking Thick.
And
God
that
damn
might be the
it.
one place I can talk about Jordan Klepper's talk show where that he did all on his own in a bunker.
What?
um, it he was a Daily Show correspondent under
Hmm.
Trevor Noah, who like spun off and made a doomsday prepper version of a late show or of a Daily Show.
All right.
And yeah, he performed it from a bunker, and it ran like one season. I was
So,
probably the only person who watched it, but it
until
was so funny.
he forgot to pump the air in there and just slowly suffocated to death over a year.
Essentially. Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
And yeah, so moving on a little bit, we
Hmm.
have yes, we can talk about some Jeopardy. Can we spoil Jeopardy?
Yeah, you don't even watch it anyways.
Okay, well, also like I was looking up here, and the last thing I could see. Okay, there we go. 23 hours ago. I can spoil yesterday's Jeopardy for sure.
I can spoil today's if
Hmm?
you want. I said I can spoil today's if you want.
You just finished the episode, I guess.
Yeah, well, it was on earlier. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so I was checking it out because win number 20 for current Canadian contestant Mateo Roach would put her in sole possession of the fifth longest run, which
Hmm.
she did get the 20th win
Hmm.
yesterday. And she also won today, so she's at 21. She's working her
Over
way.
over $500,000.
Mm.
That's US. That's like 10 million bucks up here, or something like
And
that.
see, yes, and she's already like way up on the all-time winnings list
Hmm.
because the prize pools went up significantly partway through Jeopardy's run.
They doubled.
So yeah, there are people who just literally couldn't. I guess we could literally just adjust for inflation. We do it with Titanic and Gone with the Wind all the time, right?
we're seeing a string of these long time champions and stuff like that too. It's just
Mm,
people who get it, people who just know as soon as you see that light hit that button, you got 3 seconds to figure it out. You're gonna have a pretty good idea anyways, and as long as you keep buzzing in there, you're gonna be fine. It's the people that get shaky and just start going just because she's giving you a half a second or something like that. They just start tanking, and she isn't even she is a very conservative better. Like when it like
mm,
in the long scheme of things, like even Amy was by the end of her run was betting huge amounts. She still stays relatively conservative, $3,000 bets, $4,000 bets. I think today, today she had was a runaway winner again, but she bet the $5,000 and stuff like that. That's how you. But you could make bigger bucks. You could become the
yeah,
president of Canada with that kind of money.
you always you always all in on a full house because like you're gonna win anyway.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah. No, she's been fantastic. But yeah, it's been a string. Like there's been long-term champions. Like the tournament of champions might have like 7 people in it this year or something. I'm sure there's more. But it
mm.
feels like there's only about 7 people, but there's only feels truly like there's only 2 worthy. So it'd be very interesting to see Amy and Medina go up against each other. It's gonna be a great tournament of champions. It's gonna be boring as shit getting through like the junior championships and all this other baloney, which sucks.
And
But
yeah,
yeah, the
so
tournament of champions is always good.
excuse me.
How dare you? You still have COVID. You can't give me COVID. You
And yeah, so also I had actually brought this up last week. I wanted to talk about Matea because um what was it? Yeah, it was already the eighth longest win streak. Now it's the fifth. And yes, last week it was 10th all time winnings list, but that doesn't count because all the prizes doubled and she jumped a bunch of people who technically have longer runs than her and would have scored more in today's world.
hmm
Uh, the interesting thing is she won a Final Jeopardy where she was the only contestant.
Yes, that was interesting.
Um, I was reading
And
about
still,
this and
I
I was
think
like,
she
this.
still bet conservatively.
And yeah, like I thought that was very amusing that like one that there are just these wrinkles in the game of Jeopardy that people are not expecting. With such a long running game show, you'd expect that like at least people would not have been visibly surprised, including the host of the show and former contestant of the show.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I watched a
I'm
clip
sure.
of
I'm
that
I'm
because
sure it's
that was
happened
really
before.
funny to watch.
I'm sure I've seen it before. I'm sure I've seen it before, but just pinpointing as to when exactly that
Yeah,
happened,
it
I have
it
no idea.
has apparently happened like 4 or 5 times throughout the
Mm,
history, and it has happened more recently. Like it's kind of increasing in how often that it happens.
hmm
I assume because they get these crazy ringers who just go on these giant runs, and we have been seeing a, a small uptick of giant runs. So it seems that yeah, you end up with you have to be so far ahead to be the only person in Final Jeopardy, and you need both of your opponents to basically freak out and go into the negatives. And so it
Oh,
is actually difficult.
I wonder if Jeopardy would ever have plans for some of these five-time winners that had to retire after the fifth time.
Mm,
Bring after if someone's gone on a long run like this, throw in one of the five-time winners in the mix, as long as they haven't won the tournament of champions or something like that. Just see how
mm.
they do. Just throw them in. Just a little cog in there. So let's see if and then if they do win or whatever, and let's see how much they can win this time. It's been a
And
long.
yeah,
I've heard that they're going to be allowing repeat uh, contestants again. I don't think it's ever happened yet, but I think it's allowed to happen. But I don't know if that means
mhm.
like as long as you've never won. But I
And
believe they
an
were talking about that
interesting
at the
thing,
start of this year or last year. I can't remember.
an interesting thing I would do is basically make those people like, okay, you can challenge the run, but you have to give up your spot in the Tournament of Champions if you lose.
Ooh. Hmm.
And but if you win, you literally take over and you're back on Jeopardy and you just start your run back.
I would say if you challenge and you lose, you're locked in a room all by yourself with a lion, and then let's see what happens. I know some people that could probably make it out.
Yeah, yeah. As long as they have a net.
That was no net.
50%
This
chance.
is this is before the net and the shield.
Okay, so last little bit of news. We've got that 90s show coming back, revival of that 70s show.
Hmm.
Has yeah. I don't know what to think of this one, honestly.
I loved that
Even
70s show. Like, are they gonna have like Fez? Everyone's gonna be back in this thing.
even as far as not everybody is going to be back, and for good reason. Um,
I was gonna ask about is everybody coming back?
no.
I
Uh,
wouldn't. I don't see it.
there's yeah, there's one person that we don't give a shit about that is not coming back because they're probably going to jail.
Right. Well, I knew like Kitty and Red were coming back. I knew they were coming back.
Mhm.
I think the story still may even revolve around Kitty and Red's house or something like that. And I think it's Foreman's kid, right? Dumbass's kids, or like
I
Eric,
I
his
assume
kid,
I
right?
yeah, and I know most of the crew are at least reprising their roles, and
Hmm.
so I and yeah, like I honestly want to see how much of Red we get because like that's kind of all I care about today. Now, like looking back on the show, like it was amusing and everything, but
I really liked it.
yeah, but like if you were to tell me it was coming back, like there I wouldn't be as interested except for the fact that like Red Foreman's a very funny character and I I want him to be more involved.
If they were to tell me they were just gonna do another That 70s show in a different town, I'd be down for that. But yeah,
Yeah.
Red and Kitty were hilarious. Like we're not gonna see Kelso, I'm sure. We're not gonna see, like I don't know how like they'll probably show like Eric will probably show up in the first episode kind of thing.
Hmm.
Like what's Laura Prevon's character name again? Oh my God, Donna. Yeah,
Hmm.
Donna. I'm sure she could show up a couple of times and stuff like that because I'm guessing that it's Eric and Donna's kids. I don't know. Uh, Fez
No,
would
no
probably,
idea.
yeah, Fez would probably be able to show up. But yeah, there's a few people that can't. So looks they're no longer with us, or they've done fucking stupid, ridiculous bullshit. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's their fault. But
And
I am looking forward to it. I'm yeah, we've talked about reboots and stuff like this before, so I'm always going to take it with a grain of salt. I'm not going to be like, oh, I can't wait. It's like but it's got to be better than How I Met Your Father.
yes,
It's
yes,
got
we've
to.
we've
It
definitely
has to be.
learned the lesson
It
of
has to be. God damn it!
do
It's
not
got to
be
be better.
excited. I'm still excited about the Futurama revival, and
Well, yeah.
that
Well,
that however is different because it's been revived 74 and a half times, and I
yes.
know that dead horse can be beat one more time.
Oh my goodness gracious! How dare you?
I am still watching How I Met Your Father.
Are you?
There
Aw. That's adorable.
The even better thing is there was one good episode. I found
Fuck.
I found episode 6 to be rather decent,
Oh
and
no!
then
Are you
like
telling me? Are
the
you telling me
immediate
it's getting better? Okay, no.
no, the immediate next episode was so bad. Like
Mm-mm.
as soon as I watched that, I was just like, oh, that wasn't too horrible. And then the next week, I was just like, oh no,
Good God, man.
yeah. And so so that's a show I'm watching. So we can jump into perfect segue into what are
Oh,
we watching?
all right. What are you watching?
I'm watching. Honestly, I'm watching a lot of Almost Sunny in Philadelphia, but uh, that's that's not what I brought to talk about this
I
week.
like it. I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, I was gonna talk a little bit about the Halo series that I
Oh, okay. Yes, I have not seen. I don't have. This is on Paramount Plus,
Paramount Plus.
like
Yes.
the only streaming system or streaming thing it seems that I do not have.
Hmm. Well,
So, so were you a big Halo guy? Like, did you play Halo?
interestingly enough, I did not. I
Yeah,
had a
yeah.
PlayStation.
I never had an. I've never had. Yeah, I've never had an Xbox. Like, I've
Yeah,
only ever had PlayStations and stuff like that. So I never played it.
and
I know,
yeah,
and
so
I was a Call of Duty guy. So whatever.
I played PlayStation and I was a Final Fantasy kid. I was more
Yep,
like
sure.
the
That's good.
RPGs and
Yeah.
things like that. So
Hmm.
like it I wasn't introduced to shooters until like Halo 2. I played like a little bit of 007 on the N64 and things like that, but really the first game I was playing like with my friends and like uh, trying to get good at was Halo 2 for the Xbox.
Okay.
But the problem was I had a PlayStation at home, so I could not practice the
Practice.
game.
Right. Okay.
And like the original Xbox controllers were so giant and the PlayStation controllers
Yes.
so small, it was such a like shift to go from one to the other.
I would look at
But
those Xbox controllers and I'd be like, no, I'm not. That's just too much. There's too
mm,
much. Turns out I'm not the brightest guy. So it's like I ain't gonna figure this out in a million years. So I knew the PlayStation already from the very first PlayStation. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm good with this. They
yeah,
added one
yeah.
extra button. That's it.
And the analogs. I
Mm,
I
yeah,
was I was
yeah,
fine with the analogs.
sure. Yeah, it's the
And
reason why I
then
don't. It's the reason why I don't play hockey anymore. Those fucking
and yes,
analog
like
sticks.
I actually really like those controls, even though like I love the old school like hockey games and the way that they worked. Oh man, I really love the dynamic controls for hockey.
Hmm.
But yes, for Halo, uh, problem was again, I didn't get to practice, and all of my friends loved freaking BRs and pistols, which are like mid to long range weapons, and I liked shotguns and swords, which are mid to short range weapons.
Right.
So, I died a lot
Sure.
because and mostly I liked those weapons because they were about reflexes. They weren't about aim and knowing your spots and knowing the corners of the map that I could never practice.
I
And yeah,
get it.
and so I enjoyed a good bit of Halo, and then I also like the problem was the story is so daunting for a person who does not like who only gets bits and pieces of it because there are there are humans, there are
Right.
the Covenant, there's the Flood, which are aliens that are different from the Covenant or the humans, and they're like super super bad. Everyone
Ugly.
hates the Flood. and eventually they
Oof.
team up to fight the flood, I believe. And then there's a whole like the Spartans may or may not be fully human. They could be like modified, or they
They're
could
a little
be
floody. Are they a
robots,
little
or
floody?
well, it's kind of left up in the air apparently. Like I went to a Halo expert friend of mine, and they mentioned that it's again left kind of up in the air as to whether or not the Spartans are truly human or not.
Okay.
And then I didn't even talk about, oh man, I'm I can't remember what the ancient like alien race was called. And every series has one now. Like Assassin's Creed has ancient before the humans existed people with super technology. It's like the people who built the Halos, the Forerunners. Okay. And it was Forerunners or Paragons, or something silly like that.
I have a feeling
Every
there's a
game
nerd.
has one.
There's a nerd behind the curtain here somewhere.
Oh god, don't. And yes, honestly, if you got into one of the things I'm proficient in, I would be just as bad. But yes, Forerunners was the one I was thinking of, but
Uh-huh.
honestly thought that was the Assassin's Creed one. So, and yeah, so the Forerunners built these Halos. The Halos are okay, Rob. The Halos are Death Stars, except
Oh,
actually, I think they're
but
Star
for good
Killers.
guys, like is Halo like? Are they for the good guys or the bad guys? Like, is
Um, I don't know. I don't know enough about the Forerunners to know whether they were good or bad guys, but I assume, considering they were building galaxy ending death rays,
mhm.
probably the bad guys.
Maybe they were building them for peace.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And oh,
Ooh,
they were a weapon to destroy the flood. Okay, well, I guess maybe. Who knows?
we got sandbags. Those push back the flood too.
And yeah, so I was watching the first episode, and oh my god, there's so many Mandalorian bits in this. And like,
Because
I've
everyone's wearing the hat.
well, I've only seen the first episode of The Mandalorian and the first episode of Halo, and they were very, very, very similar.
Jawas. They both had Jawas.
No, but he and his team go to a planet. The planet is being attacked by Covenant. Uh, these big alien elite guys. They've got plasma rifles. They're fighting humans. They've got energy shields. None of the weapons work against them. It's a massacre. And
So
then the Spartans show up, and four Spartans take out like 30 goddamn aliens in about 6 minutes.
okay.
And then they're talking to the base, and it turns out the Covenant is looking for, it turns out, probably Forerunner technology is on this planet, and they're trying to excavate it. And so Chief takes it instead, and as soon as he touches it, there's a big like explosion, and he seems to be changed.
Oh, he gets superpowers. He isn't just like a good soldier. He
No,
gets
no, no, no,
superpower
no.
soldier.
He's already a Spartan at this point. It
Oh,
kind of
Master
breaks his
Chief is a
brainwashing.
Spartan.
Yeah, it breaks his
Oh,
brainwashing is what happens.
okay.
But like you don't quite know that. There's just a big flash of light and some weird stuff happens. And
Does
then
this
later,
follow? Does this follow the lore of the video game or no? You're not
some of
sure.
it does, some of it doesn't. Like when I was talking to my buddy, he was saying like a lot of it is like new, and like it's kind of a new story, but
But
like within the like universe. And Yeah, like he was saying, like, he was confused that we were already going to Reach, and Reach is a space
Planet?
station, a planet, a moon, one of those
Okay.
three. um, and okay,
Planet.
it kind of looked like a city floating in space.
Oh, they
So
have
I
one of
wasn't
those in
quite
Mandalorian
sure.
too.
I know exactly.
So, do
And then yes,
do you
he's
start the show do you have to know who Master Chief is, or does it start the show and let you
nah.
know what the hell's going on?
Honestly, you kind of figure he's like, you immediately understand they're super soldiers. They fight these alien guys who are no match for, or who humanity is no match for. And then literally he touches weird alien object. Then he's told to take the alien object and the sole survivor back to Reach so that they can execute her.
Huh.
And then he tells his squad to go on one ship, and he's going to take the artifact and the girl back. And one of the squad is just like, that's not protocol, sir. And they're all clone troopers. But he's he's
These
not
guys are gonna get the
like,
shit suit out of them.
yeah, the Order 66 is not working for him,
Guys, I'm
essentially.
working. That reminds me of the show I'm working on, where there's this young little wizard who flies off after a big battle and goes to a swamp planet, and this green lizardy dude teaches him the best way to go. I'm pretty sure I'll never get sued for this. This isn't anything
Yes,
like that.
yes.
And he has to go into a cave and face his deepest, darkest fear. Turns out it's himself.
And yes, obviously there are little differences, and but Halo even has a laser sword.
What the fuck?
And they are actually really awesome. uh, and they're in the first episode as well. They go pretty hard with the violence, and it was honestly a lot of fun. But then yeah, so freaking Mando, I mean Master Chief,
Oh boy.
he gets the order to bring the girl to be executed, and he decides to disobey that order. And
Oh,
then she's freaking out, and she doesn't know how to trust him. So yes, he takes the helmet off in the first episode, and
and he's
basically
no
tells
longer
her,
Master Chief.
you can't kill me because your weapon is not going to penetrate my armor. You're going to have to shoot me in the head, and then takes his helmet off to make the girl trust him. And
So,
then
who's
they
playing
try.
Master Chief? Do you recognize that guy? Like, is he a well-known actor at all?
Not like super recognizable. I cannot actually remember off the top of my head right now. If our producer could help us out, he
He's too busy fighting
and he
lions.
does seem like, I don't know. It's pretty
What are
interesting.
you asking?
I have
Oh my gosh, what is this?
This is the Halo
This is
laser
the
sword.
Halo energy sword. Yeah.
I, it looked like a huge like paper clip for a second, or a bobby pin.
What are you asking me to do, Dan?
Oh,
He wants to know
I
who the
was
Master Chief is.
yeah,
Oh, it's
Pablo Schreiber, a
yeah,
Canadian.
yeah.
Oh, so
And
it's
now I go away.
better than Star Wars now. More Canadian content.
And yeah, looks a little looks a little
We're
bit like the Punisher.
Guys, we're taking over Jeopardy, and now we're taking over Halo as well. Yes, just like the prophecy foretold.
Just as the Forerunners foretold.
That's right.
Except, yes, we called them the Coureurs de Bois.
Oh my god.
uh,
Uh, do you want to know what the final Jeopardy? The final question for Final Jeopardy was today?
hmm?
it was this country's the second line in this country's national anthem. Frank in the French is "Nous ayons vaillu" or something like that. And if you're talking to a French Canadian girl, it's like, oh my god. So you just asked her to say what is your own national anthem in the French language. I guess she would have learned it in first. Oh my god, not great. I
That's
feel
pretty
like
excellent.
she's gotten a few a few softball Canadian questions here, which is good. Like fucking pile up the points on that, or the bucks, pile up the bucks.
And yeah, so when he gets back to base, they tell him this is bad, and they try to hijack his ship, and then he stops them from doing that, and he runs off. And now he's got, you know, a child he has to protect. And he's got his helmet that he takes on and off, and he's not supposed to and that's a big thing too. Like when I was talking
All
to
the
my
nerds,
buddy about it, he
getting
was
uppity.
like, Master Chief does not take his helmet off. And I was like, yeah, neither does the Mandalorian, but you know.
Oh boy, oh boy.
And yeah, like honestly, those things don't bother me anywhere near as much as they do most people. Like, and yeah,
So
so
how many episodes are there of the Halo show? Oh my
there
god.
are quite a few. I would have to check. I know it was a full series, but they were also
9 of them.
bringing it out week to week. So
Is
currently
it
there are
running in
5
Canada?
episodes.
Is it running in Canada the same time as the
Oh,
States? Like, are you like on the same kind of level as the States, unlike some of these other shows that we've done?
it seems we are on the same level.
Oh, well, at
It
least you
seems
can't get
5
spoiled.
episodes are available,
Mhm.
and the 6th, oh no, the 6th just came out. So 6 episodes are out now.
Sure.
And apparently there will be 9 according to Dave.
He would know.
And so
Nerd.
that does seem pretty cool. And
That's an odd number, 9. Oh, that's good.
yeah, that is super strange.
Oh,
We started speaking French.
We start talking French, and look who friggin' appears. He's like the Satan himself, eh? Bonjour,
yeah,
comment ça va, Frenchie?
I got to, as like a non-Halo fan, I got to see all of the bits of Halo without having my story ruined. So I definitely enjoyed it. I do not know about other people, but
So you can appreciate it on like a sci-fi level, and not just as a fan of the game.
yeah, like it's got an interesting story to tell, and so I'm interested in how they're going to tell it, because I mean this story is fed piecemeal to you throughout, like, what is it, 9 games at this point? I think it's closer to 5, but still.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I believe there are 5 main series Halo games, and then at least 2 spin-offs. Yeah. And
7.
then yeah, as many as you need Horcruxes, I guess.
Oh my god, is that part of the same universe? Might be.
How many Halos are there, Dave?
Unbelievable.
That's a big question. There's a lot of them. They're not all discovered. Nathan Fillion said that there could be like 60, but he's kind of an idiot. So
why would he say that?
Why are we asking Nathan Fillion?
What is happening?
Because he's the main character in some of the games.
What? Oh my god. I wish they would have had Firefly games. Firefly would have been a better game. Well, Frenchie, seems to think that you don't need to play the game either. Okay, so maybe it's something. If I ever end up getting a Paramount Plus, That's something I can look into. But
Oh, and
I'm
yes,
not breaking my ankle to find it. Go ahead.
Paramount Plus. I did want to jump into it a little bit. I am so annoyed at this thing. For many different reasons. I love Paramount Plus because it's one of the cheapest subscriptions I've had to pick up. Like it's like $6 or $7 compared to frickin' Crave's 20 if you don't want.
Yeah, if you don't want the movies or whatever.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh my god. But it's got a decent library. Paramount's been around forever. They have an insane amount of shows. They have it seems like they have every single cop show. And so like I found out that not only is every cop show the exact same, but they're all made by the same people.
That's right.
It was Paramount all along.
Fucking bastards.
And then
The UPN. The UPN. God damn it. I knew
yes.
it.
And so yes, those are the pros. Very decent. Also, Frenchie, you should get a VPN. I think Australia has every season of Survivor.
Wow.
What was I going to say? Yes, the downside. The downside.
Yes.
I can't download my shows. I especially like I do a lot of watching television while I'm on the bus or while I'm just like out sitting in a park somewhere. And yeah, like I wish I could frickin' download the Halo series and watch it, or download certain episodes of Survivor and watch them, or like I saw a number of different things that I was like, oh yeah, I'll definitely check this out, and I click on it and there's no download feature, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna sit here for 90 more minutes, so I guess I will watch this eventually. And then yeah, it just keeps happening to me. And
So you'll never get to see season 2 of Jag in a park? Oh my god. Those monsters.
exactly. Well, no, it is more like recent stuff. The older a thing tends to be, the more likely it is downloadable. I do find Crave has a lot of these issues as well with some of the newer stuff. And like generally an original will be available for download immediately, but other things are not. And not all originals are, because Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, the current season is never downloadable. And it's just like, I guess maybe there's a metric thing. Like if I download it, they can't tell if I've watched 3 minutes or 60 minutes of it. So they don't put it up for download so that they can check on the back end. But like, literally, my device is communicating so much data to their frickin' servers. They can't tell that I watched all of it while the frickin' thing was downloaded. Come on. I don't get it.
Pain in the ass.
Yep. So we've got. Do we want to talk about? I don't know. You mentioned a bunch of different shows, so
I've been watching a bunch of different shows.
yeah.
I've been trying to dip my dip my ink in a bunch of different wells. If you know what I mean. Means I've been trying to watch different TV shows. I caught up on. I heard that when Barry's coming back, I was like, oh, okay. I watched the first episode. I think we talked, or the first season. I think we talked about this before. I watched the first season of Barry, and then I watched like a couple episodes and of the second season, and then so much other shit going on and stuff like that. Yeah, capitalize it, MFer. And now I was like, okay, I'll finish watching Barry and then season 2, and then I'll be ready for season 3 when it starts up. Now, one good thing about Barry is I'd watched a couple episodes. They're only 8 episode seasons, so there isn't much.
Mm.
And on top of that, they're only a half hour long.
Oh
So
shit, eh?
it takes no time to get back into it. So I don't want to get too spoiler heavy because I've really enjoyed how the last season ended up, and I've been enjoying this season so far. Um, I want to say that the way that the second season ends is pretty fucking nuts. Just that last episode. It takes a little bit to get going and stuff like that. There's a lot of, trying to work through this play and what's happening with his girlfriend and this play she wants to do, and, where she was abused, and the abuser comes back into the life real quick, and Barry is going to go have a talk with him. And, well, there's
Okay,
there's
so
abuse.
it's really just Dexter, but he's an actor. Like that exact
Yeah,
storyline is from
but
Dexter.
but it's only a half hour long, so you don't have to sit there for an hour waiting and waiting and waiting. But still, the comedy is still there. It isn't all dark all the time, and the Fonz is in it as Cousineau, and he's
Mm.
terrific, and Stephen Root's in it, and he's so goddamn good. But NoHo Hank is the best character on the show, one of the best characters in television right now. He's the where are they from? Is it Armenia? Are they the Armenian mob or something like that? I can't remember. Or Chechen, or maybe they're Chechen or something like that. But yeah, so it's so fucking good. Anyways, the way this season's starting out now, much darker. It
Mm.
is. There's some bits to it. There's some funny bits, but you can tell there's a lot going on with Barry right now, and he's starting to lose his grip. He explains a lot about what happened. Like the second season explains a lot about why he is who he is, what he's doing, what happened to him in Iraq and stuff like that. And which is one of the best episodes of the series when you figure out all that stuff. And Bill Hader's doing a fucking bang up job acting in this show, writing this show, producing this show. It's top notch work. But the the first 2 episodes of this second season are dark as coal. But yeah, no, fully enjoyable. And again, it's easy to get back into this show. That's why I don't want to say too much. And when you get back into it and stuff, we can talk through it a little more thoroughly.
Mm.
Plus, I've watched a fucking shit ton of shows here. What's another
Yeah,
show that I've
I
seen?
was just gonna jump in and
Go ahead.
mention a little bit because this was one of the things I had on my April like my guide thing, but
Yeah.
then I ended up skipping over it in the actual episode we were doing just because I couldn't find enough information about it. But
Okay.
the We Own This City, which is the maker
Oh,
of The Wire going back to
okay.
Baltimore to make another
That
show
makes a
about
lot
the
of
crime
sense.
war. Yeah.
Yes, I've only seen the first episode. I kept looking for it. So, usually on my on my hierarchy, the shows that I need to see. The first one is Winning Time, but this week I wanted to see We Own This City more than even Winning Time. And
Mm.
of course, I think it didn't come out on Crave until today. Like in Canada, I
Ah.
don't think it comes out until, and I had zero time. So it's going to be one of the shows I watch either as soon as we're done this, or one of the first things I do. Well, there's another show we're going to talk about later that has its finale or whatever tonight. So I'll probably have to watch that show just so I don't get spoiled about anything. Which if I do, I do. Who really cares? But We Own
Honestly,
the City.
I haven't had a huge problem with spoilers on
Yeah, that's
Moon Knight.
and I would I be all that upset if I did get spoiled about it? Probably not. But John Bernthal in it, so good. Like all the acting is so good. And I don't know. I never saw The Wire, so I don't have that. I'm not. I can't say, oh, it's just as good as The Wire. Or, oh, The Wire was better or whatever. I just know that I really like this, And now I know that if it is as good or if The Wire is better, then how much I've missed out on seeing that show. So I'm gonna goddamn have to make goddamn time to watch that goddamn show and put more shit on my goddamn show that I have to fucking watch. But I'll watch it because We Own This City is great. It's great television. It's an hour and you're totally submerged in it, and you want more. As soon as it was over, I wanted more. It's like, goddamn, this isn't enough. It's going to be fantastic. So I
Mm.
highly recommend that you put away your How I Met Your Fathers. For God's sakes, man, just do it. Just break it. You know, just break it.
Oh God,
Go
it's so
cold
bad.
turkey. You can do it. I know you can do it.
But you know what? It's downloadable.
Oh, that's true. You can watch it in a park.
Yeah, like down by the frickin' I
Down
live
by the
right
bay.
by the
You can
water
watch, you can watch
because
it down by the
I
bay where the
I
watermelons
literally
grow.
live on an island.
Back to my home,
I
my
live on
dear
an
little
island in a
home.
river, actually. There's water
You live
everywhere.
in a van down by the river? For
Yes.
if I do, my mother would say. Have you ever seen a bear combing his hair down by the bay?
Yeah. So we own this city.
So good. It's so good, Danielle. Yes,
I
get
have been
watching
wanting
it.
to watch this. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll start watching that one because we're gonna have a space open up here after next week.
And what the hell is Outer Range?
Outer Range. Okay, so I just saw like a one of those flash kind of things or whatever coming up on my phone or whatever because I have Amazon Prime.
Hmm.
And it was just like Josh Brolin, Outer Range. It's like, oh, Josh Brolin in a Western show. Okay, fine, I'll watch it. And it's like I didn't jump on that yellow. What is it? Yellow. What is it? Yellowstone? Jellystone? Is it
Yeah,
Jellystone?
yeah.
It's not Jellystone. It's Yellowstone.
I assume
I
it's
think
Yellowstone.
yes. Jellystone is a Jellystone. Oh, I don't think that's right either. There, Lion Boy. Uh, I think Jellystone
One
is that
word.
one about that bear that takes all those picnic baskets. I think it's Yellowstone. And
Yeah, that's
a lot
the
of
Kevin
people,
Costner one.
right? Yes, and a lot of people are really love that show and stuff like that. I didn't, again, it's into its what third or fourth season now, so it's fuck. If I'm gonna start watching it, it's a lot of work. So I see Josh Brolin going to TV in a Western style show. I'm like, okay, I'm in, sure. Um, I'm gonna get on the ground floor of this just so I don't have to do all those backup watches and stuff like that. Now
Mm.
they're doing 2 episodes a week, so I can spread it out.
It seems Amazon's sticking
It's
with
their
that formula
it's their
recently.
thing. Yeah, it's not too bad. I like the one a week and stuff like that. But two, you're not fighting it too hard and stuff like that. It's easy to split up through the week. You don't have to watch them both at the same time. I did because the first episode happens, and this isn't a spoiler to say because this is going to happen within the first 20 minutes. You get to meet Josh Brolin. His name is Royal. I think it's Royal Abbott. I think it's the Abbott clan. I think that's why you'll see um, different things where like the Outer Range will have a weird looking A, and it's like the
Hmm.
Abbott family brand. It's
Okay.
there's something else to it though. Yeah, and there's a girl backpacking on his land, and she just asked to stay, like if it's okay if she camps there for a while. She's been going through all this stuff or whatever. He's like, fine. That night, his 2 kids, like they're out on the range or whatever, and moving. I think they have bison or something like that. And the guys that own the adjacent land come up in their ATV saying, "Yeah, Paul says this is ours now, and we're gonna fight you in court and blah blah blah." So guess what? The neighbors' kids are a bunch of dicks. So they go. You see them later at a bar, and the younger one gets into a fight with the older bad guy kid. Then the older brother of the good guy of the Abbotts or whatever comes out and says get inside or whatever, but the older brother's wife has been missing for years and years, and gets into a fight with the older brother and kills him in the fight. Like punches him in the throat, beats him to death. So they take him back. Now, the thing that's why this is called Outer Range is because Royal Abbott, was going through his fields, and for some reason, there's a great big, huge black circle of nothing in his field. So this isn't just a Western. And he's like, what is, you could kick dirt in and stuff like that. He puts his hand in, and he takes it out, and there's all this black stuff that starts running down and then eventually disappearing. He
fucking Venom symbiote.
well, he like he ends up throwing the body into the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was the end of the first episode. And the second episode is just, them looking for him and stuff like that until she talks with this girl again, and she starts talking about Chronos and chronology and time. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because there's a whole bunch more that happens there. But yeah, this isn't just a typical Yellowstone, like two frontier, like modern frontier families at odds with each other. There's something fucking fishy going on, and people acting in almost a Twin Peaksy way. So yes, I was very into it. Like the patriarch of the other family is fucking nuts. Yeah, there's all kinds of weird shit happening. Yeah. If you liked just things that are different like that, like fucking, I loved it. Like Severance is still, like, for me, the best thing since we started watching all these things. Severance is the best, because it's quirky, it's weird, it just has so much shit going on, and there's so many levels. Outer Range is pretty high up on the stuff that I've liked so far. Like, it's really good. We Own the City is probably going to be better, but yeah, it's just, it has enough quirkiness that it's like, yes, what's going to happen next? And that's what good television does. It doesn't boring you. There's no real message to it. Just weird, which is good.
Okay.
Weird is good.
So we've got a couple of quick minutes to talk about our Survivor draft. How's this doing in the recent weeks? Let's start with 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Who were we sending home?
2 weeks ago, I believe, was it Daniel? Oh, 2 weeks ago, that was Chanel.
Yes, and then there was the Exile Island with Roxroy. Yes. And then the merge. Okay. So 1 week ago.
Oh, are we talking Survivor? Last week was the double boot episode. So we lost two players, and someone has been eliminated from our draft.
Damn.
Motherfucker.
Wait, why are you upset, Snark? It's not you.
Oh my god.
I don't have the image prepped. I'm sorry. I didn't realize we'd be talking draft. Oh, wait, no, it is Snark. I'm sorry. It is.
Yeah.
It is Snark. Never mind.
My picks went in a row. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blammo.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Fucking believable.
Were they like literally the last 4?
I believe so. I believe it was Daniel before Chanel, wasn't it?
Oh my.
Well, it went it was Lydia before Chanel.
Oh, Lydia. Yeah, sorry. Daniel, then Lydia,
yes.
Chanel, and then Roxroy.
Yeah, it was you went 4 in a row.
I went 4, 3, 2, 1. I should get a fucking statue.
I gotta say,
for ineptness.
And somebody still has all 4 of their picks. this guy. So, you know.
I want to take this time to point out how much I hate Survivor. I hate everybody involved.
Not true. This last episode was like a really good episode. You know, not only do we get to see some great strategy from Omer and Hai, also got into a really good race conversation about like the privilege and stuff that people bring into the game, and have a really good cogent conversation about.
And then what did they do? And then what did they do? A really good race conversation. And then what did they do? Fucking
voted out Tori.
Mm-hmm.
Tori wasn't even on your team. You were already out by the time.
I'm still mad about Rocks.
You were mad about Rockstar going, which was Drea brings up a good point where there comes a point in a lot of Survivor seasons where minorities get picked off one by one. And
happened last time too.
Yeah.
They should have been gold, but they started turning on each other. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
This is why. God damn it.
Well, and it's also the implicit bias that people bring in. They had I don't think that 3 white guys on this panel are equipped to properly discuss the plight of Black women in Survivor or in general. But I thought that the show handled it really well, and and we got
God damn it, like fucking goddamn motherfucker. Oh yeah, I had really high hopes. I had really high hopes for Chanel. I had really high hopes for Rox. The other twos were kind of like thrown, but I figured those two for sure. It's like it's gonna be one of those two. Roxroy went to pieces. He went to pieces on that first time. Oh my god.
Well, he made the big mistake of saying, you know what? Hey guys, there's 6 guys and 4 girls. Guys Alliance, we just run this. But he said that to people who were like, I have no interest in being in an all guys alliance with Roxroy. Or I think Hai called it I have no desire to be in the misogyny club. And I was like, that's very funny.
Yeah.
And then when they split the tribe into 2 to do the 2 boots, 5 and 5, it was very funny seeing Roxroy on a team with all guys. And it's like, Rox, you can't vote out a woman. Only guys are available for you to vote out. And then Jonathan was on the tribe with all the women. And of course he won immunity, but
Mm-hmm. Oh, shockingly.
Well, it was his first one. Tori had won 2 back to back. So
yeah. Oh, what were they thinking? What were they thinking not getting rid of him? What were they thinking not getting rid of him?
He's in the big alliance. You can't get rid of it. No one's voting for him.
What are they doing? Yeah, but why are they why did you set yourselves up to protect him? Of all people.
Because he's always going to go before you do. And like we saw last season.
But he could just win out. He might just win this thing out. It's happened before. It has happened before, but I don't think it will ever happen again. Like I think we're a long stretch of we're a far cry away from Mike Holloway and Ben Driebergen winning all the challenges so they win the season. Like look at Xander last season. He won a bunch. He had the idol the entire time, and at the end he got 0 votes. Like I think we're just in an era where the challenge performance is not that impressive. I think the social game between the two, Jackson and Xander, are completely different. I think Jackson I think they worship this fucking guy. I think they absolutely love this guy.
Well, Mike definitely does.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my
Who, by the way, I think Mike. If it's not going to be Omer or Hai, I do think that Mike is my front runner to win this game now.
Hey, I knew it all along.
The oldest,
this is like former firefighter. That's a hero right there.
I'd love to see it. Is Omar the last Canadian left? Or is there another one?
No, we are.
What's her
my
name?
dude
It says she's from Montreal, but she's originally from Dallas.
Yeah, but she lives in Quebec now, so that counts. And then Marianne's also from Ontario.
Oh,
and
we have
Marianne's.
We have 3 Canadians in the final 8.
Why are these people talking?
The transplant counts because she speaks French.
Yeah,
like she moved here and she became Canadian.
Yeah, we have, but there is and Omer, Marianne, and Drea I think, unfortunately, Marianne and Drea both used their idols this week, so they don't have that to protect them anymore. But Drea has
those fucking things, anyways.
Drea has 9,000 other advantages she can use. She's got her amulet, her extra vote, and her steal an advantage.
Her staff of Raw.
She does. She's got it all. But I think
she's got the Ark of the Covenant.
For sure. She's definitely, I think.
Guess who's a Nazi, motherfuckers?
Excuse me, Jeff. I'd like to play my.
I'd
like to play my tactical nuke.
Oh my goodness gracious! This is happening.
I think there is a chance that we could see an all Canadian final three.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we get Omer could get there on his social game. Marianne, I think, is like someone who they're never going to want to get rid of, similar to like Angelina from a couple seasons ago. And Drea has all the toys. How do you get Drea out? You can't do it. It's impossible.
I think at this point Marianne's in a very good place, and I think maybe one more episode in Small Tribes and she would have been gone. Because you can see like when like you could see quite a few people in that tribe were just, if it wasn't so dysfunctional as well, like if there weren't bigger problems, it was always just like, oh my god, Marianne.
Well, I think she's in. Her and Romeo might be fighting for the same spot in the final three, though, where that person who is either like the troublemaker of the season or the unfortunately it's the same archetype every time, where it's the young woman who talks a lot, oftentimes gets dragged to the final three and then doesn't get any votes. So I think if she can,
or Fishback.
Or Fishback. Well, JT played a really strong game, to be fair. But I think that she's in a really good place, and if she can survive this week, I really think pencil Marianne in for the final three. Also, congratulations, she just graduated this week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, saw that on Twitter.
Oh, so did my.
All right, so shall we turn our ghost back into stone and put him in that hall where they put all the other statues?
The worst.
Which, speaking of, do you like the dumb British accent more or less now that it's written into the show?
I like it the exact same. It wasn't a matter if it was a phony one, if he's acting phony. I just don't like. There's something about it. It's nails on a chalkboard to me. It drives me fucking bananas. It just drives me bananas. Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's and a lot of people are fine with it, and that's all good. And I enjoy this. Like the story is fine. It's just as soon as I hear the voice and the mock. Oh my god. There's more to it. I don't know. Whatever. It's the same, the same thing the entire time. He's at like the same temper and everything. Like it's the exact same all thing. Even when he's mad, it sounds the exact same. Ugh. Gross.
It reminds me a lot of Eddie Redmayne's Newt Scamander, but that's a whole thing that I don't need to get into.
Now I like it way better. Now I just love it.
Both the characterization and the actual accent are both very close. But watching like the last episode last week, and I actually had to go and watch part of it again this week because I was so lost on the boat.
Watch it again because I fell asleep the first time I was watching it.
And also I think today I watched episode 5, so that would have been episode 4 last week. Is really like 2 separate episodes. There's a whole thing that happens at the beginning, where like they're still in the desert and doing things, and then like the second half of the episode is like
after he gets shot.
Yeah. Exactly. And then this episode, it's all like happening in 3
continuation.
different places.
It's just a continuation of the one story, though. It's just basically a continuation of where they believe they're talking to the doctor,
Yeah.
instead of where they're convinced that he's a doctor and not like the guy they've been after and stuff like that. And then eventually things start coming to light more towards this episode, and then like in many ways, this is the 5th episode here. It was a very important episode, and it dealt with a lot of heavy shit that doesn't get dealt with in comic book television shows.
Mm.
Lots of important shit. The unfortunate part was a lot of that important shit had to go through a shitty British accent. So yeah, yes, but it explained so much. It explained so much about what the Moon Knight is that you even forgot that there hasn't even been a half decent fight in 2 episodes now. Like you haven't seen the Moon
Yeah.
Knight. You get to see him in the one little tiny little bit through a window or whatever. Right? No, there's one tiny bit where you see him in the 5th episode. You see him like. Punching while they're talking or whatever, and he's going on about something that's happened in his past.
Yeah.
You see it one tiny bit of him for
And
like
then
5
there's
seconds.
a little
That's it.
bit right at the end of 5 where they're fighting the souls of the dead.
Yeah, and it's about time. It's like, okay. And then as soon as I realized, as soon as I saw what the scales were, and they said the scales aren't balanced, I was like, oh, okay, fine, good. I get it now.
I'm upset about that.
All right.
Why did the scales balance?
Because
yeah, but what about the third one?
He doesn't
yeah, but what
need
about
it
the third
anymore.
one? The one that's still in the sarcophagus, who's shaking in the other room in the hospital.
But we don't. Maybe that was the Moon Knight. We don't know if that
Maybe,
was an actual person in there.
But no, it's clearly the freaking homicidal monster that's been ripping people to pieces all season, and that neither Steven nor Mark recognizes doing those actions. Like, and
maybe
yeah,
that's the god. Maybe that's the god. Maybe that's the god himself just coming through.
It's just Khonshu taking over.
Yeah, that might just be Khonshu saying, "Enough of this. I'm just doing this."
That's possible.
That would separate.
Except,
That would give plausible deniability to the scriptwriters.
And make him a fucking hypocrite, though, because that's his problem with Amit, is that she murders people who haven't made their choices yet. If he's just going around slaughtering people with no remorse, then he...
Right.
Yeah, okay. I guess, and yeah, I guess the issue is that they've both been fighting each other recently, and the third guy only shows up when they... I guess that's what happens, is the third guy shows up when Mark and Steven were fighting each other so much that they couldn't be in control, and so the third guy takes over in those moments.
I got a question, or a question asked, just outside of anything that we were talking about, really. Are you surprised at the lack of anything anchoring the show to the Marvel universe? I don't even hear them really even talking, like just in passing, about like Avengers level stuff or
there was
anybody else. I don't I don't hear them talking about anything. There's no references to any of it.
There was one mention.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
They mentioned Madripoor at one point.
Yeah.
And that both ties like their weird sort of mercenary / art thief / Indiana Jones sort of.
I was thinking about that stuff before.
They do a lot of things.
I saw Indiana Jones do all this stuff with a fucking bullwhip. This guy can turn into a goddamn super mummy.
Yeah. Layla with the flare was kind of awesome. And then I was just like, shit, like, why did these guys just have an entire open trunk of ammunition? And that's why you store your ammo properly, kids.
That's right.
Adults, store your ammo how you want, but kids, store it
In your
correctly.
guns. Store them in your guns.
Or in your enemies.
Oh, safe keepings. Safe keepings.
Yeah, I don't know. The scales thing was strange, and I honestly thought there was going to be more to that. I thought there was going to be a weird scales thing with Harrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought at one point he was gonna like stick the cane, like he was gonna convince Steven to finally like let him measure him, and then it was just gonna go wild and like never stop and
Break his arm
things
off.
like that. Well, basically, and basically just make everybody confused because these scales are supposed to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but I meant like I thought there was supposed to be a reason for it, but it was just that like
It's just for
that
killing old people.
yeah, it's just that Mark and Steven are fighting each other, but then it turns out that no, they're not fighting each other because one is just a figment. Um
I'm surprised that Mark knew so much about Steven, about why Steven was there. I don't know if that's usually the case. Uh
mm,
so yeah, so there's that or whatever, and I thought, every part with that mother or whatever was wasn't fun to watch, I can tell you that. I thought
mm,
that the story about why everything happened in that cave and stuff like that, I thought that was, tacky. You could have done better than that, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. It just you know brought you to where you had to be with the mother and stuff like that, and why he was
yeah.
doing all these things. Uh, yes, and seeing the Stephen Grant poster on the wall, and then everybody starting to finally get it. I would have had Stephen Grant sacrifice. He kind of sacrifices himself, but I don't know if he did really when he went to go and tackle that one monster or whatever that was
Yeah.
grabbing Mark. But I'd figure like this guy just finally gets it's like I'm not real, and then and then that's the way up or whatever, or have Mark realize
Which
you're not real. It's like, and
which
then have
again
him do that as part of his own psyche. Have him do that, but
brings
you know
us back
th-
around
that's why I'm a
to
I'm a doctor on an internet show, and that guy's a superhero.
but that brings us back around to like I believe it's not dissociative identity disorder is I believe what he has.
Hmm.
It is not that, but there is a different thing that is like creating a new persona and personality the way that Mark does with Steven. But if that is the case and Stephen was created to protect Mark,
Well,
then we still need to deal with the fact that he created the other one. And like if it's not DID and it's, personas created by Mark to protect himself from certain feelings, then we do need to know about the homicidal monster that's locked in the cage somewhere inside him, and the scales shouldn't have balanced Marvel.
maybe the other guy's really light, so it doesn't matter.
He's really light. Okay, fine.
Yeah, he's as light as a feather.
And yeah, so basically, what I'm saying is they're going to assassinate me.
Mhm. Xerox. They should have called him
Uh,
Xerox Man.
Steve made the third. It's the vendors who keep cloning themselves. And yeah. At the end of this, we're gonna find out that this all actually takes place inside of Harrow's head, and he's still actually the avatar of Khonshu, and he created Mark and Steve, and
I was hoping that at the end of this, with all the copying or whatever, it takes place. We find out it all takes place in the Office Space universe, and
excellent.
everyone has to work this weekend.
And yeah, mostly what I was getting into before when you mentioned it not being connected. The creators did that on purpose. They wanted to tell a particular story that didn't need to involve, and one of the things is they got big names. Like, so when and if they do move Moon Knight onto a bigger screen, they're around, and the characters are well established now.
Haven't they said that he will be part of the Avengers somehow? I never remember Moon Knight ever being an Avenger, but
it's confusing. Yeah. They say all sorts of things, and 90% of what they tell us is lies, so it's really hard to figure out what's what. Like, again, they're using promotional material with Captain Carter on all sorts of things for Multiverse of Madness, but nobody is addressing that at all until very, very recently when she showed up in like the 4th or 9th trailer. And then it's only 3 seconds of it. And yeah. And Oscar Isaac, like they specifically set out to make a contained story that did not need a secondary season or a movie or whatever, but you know,
if they do a movie, they should just have the Moon Knight character or whatever, and all the get up and some British actor doing an Oscar Isaac imitation.
Yeah. They're not spoilers when they're in the trailers. They're
right.
Enticements.
That's a good way around it.
It's like more that. Marvel What If spoilers because she's a What If character. I assume so it's Defender of the Multiverse, Captain Carter, but I can't say that for certain.
That was one of my favorite ones. The What Ifs were again. I liked the What Ifs. Yeah, Captain Carter was one of my favorites.
That was a really good one. Like the first episode, really good choice. And I really liked that they managed to tie those stories together by the end. Like I wasn't sure what they were doing, but was very neat to see actually everybody come back together at the end and make the Defenders of the Multiverse.
Yeah, it was really good. Okay, so they don't have a second season planned for Moon Knight at all?
Nope. That's why I keep saying there's not enough episodes.
Right, and tonight, and it is the finale airing later on tonight. Well, 2 o'clock.
I believe so. Yeah.
Our time over here. Okay. Do you expect any? You don't expect any other kind of Marvel-y people showing up here? You think it's going to be just a self-contained world? These 6 episodes.
Again, there was the mention of Madripoor, so I don't want to say no, but also Madripoor has only been contextually mentioned by, secondary and tertiary characters, so I'm not sure what they're planning with it yet. I also don't know enough about Madripoor within the Marvel universe, if it's created for the cinematic or if it
They've talked about it in
elsewhere.
Both, haven't they? Haven't they talked about it in both? Black Panther. No, that's Soul. Was it didn't they talk about Madripoor in Black Panther?
They might have had it in Black Panther. They definitely had it in Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes, so good.
And then, oh yes, they do go there. and then they mention it in at least Shang-Chi might have had a mention of Madripoor as well.
Maybe.
But anyway, it's a place in the Marvel universe, and it's a country, I think.
I'm trying to imagine like who would show up. Like maybe Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character may show up in the end. Someone sort of in that thing. U.S. agent, maybe him.
Yeah. Valentina, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right, that's right, Valentina. U.S.
Yeah,
That'd be cool if U.S. agent showed up. Oh,
Blade showing up. Yeah. Blade showing up the same way he
There's
does.
no way. There's no way they fucking bring Blade just for this TV show. I can't see it.
Again, they brought him for like the post-credit scene of Eternals.
His voice.
Which
we didn't
was,
see him.
It was literally a post-credit scene in Eternals about a character who was barely in Eternals. And like a character we don't learn about at all within the actual movie he was debuted in.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll about do it, because we're back on movie talk again. So clearly we've strayed too far from the path of righteousness.
Oh yes,
he does have a sword. He's essentially a Game of Thrones character now.
Oh boy.
And yeah, we should get swords.
I'd be Rob Snark.
Rob Snark. Oof.
Mm-hmm. King of the fucking North, motherfuckers. Right here.
I do have friends in real life who call me Dane rather than Daniel, and
I think they're just mispronouncing your name.
Yes and no. It's but and yes, so
people who mispronounce your name aren't your friends, Daniel.
We have definitely shortened that to Dane Targaryen, obviously.
Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Oh,
so yeah, we kind of do fit the criteria. So we got to get some Valyrian steel swords to hang behind us.
I want one of those big dogs. Direwolf.
And I'll take a dragon, thanks.
I'll call mine Mopsy.
Mopsy
the direwolf.
I want a feathered dragon.
Oh.
Real dragons had feathers.
I don't know if you understand the logic of what you just said.
And that'll do it for us. You can find us all over the Northern Entertainment Group. You can find the Northern Entertainment Group on Twitter at Group of the North. You can also find us on Facebook at Northern Entertainment Group. You can find me and Snark on a bunch of different shows all over. I believe you were recently on our friend Kiwi Jess's channel, which I'll let you plug in a second. And I can personally be found on Twitter at Corrupted Canuck. My handle is here on the screen. Over to you.
Yeah, I was on Kiwi Jess. Kiwi Jess has this new channel. She's like, guys, I'm out of here. I got to do this new thing. I have some important stuff to do. Like, I've got to talk to the most important people in the entire internet. She says, I got to start with the most important one. So after a very exhaustive, she says, the most important person in the internet world is this guy right here, the Snark. So I talked with Jess for about 2.5 hours on her show. She kept trying to end it, and I kept saying, no way, there's more. There's more to me. So yes, there's 2.5 hours of listening to this voice. Lucky. If you follow Kiwi Jess's channel, I've been on our buddy Ben's channel over there at the Multiverse of Geekdom. I've done Unwind with Ben on Sunday nights a couple of times. That's always a good time. We've done shows with our buddy 50. We've done shows with the Yahoo in the back here, ranking Harry Potter movies incorrectly.
Yeah, I was watching that at work last night, and
the worst.
Both I ran into a lot of work, so I had to turn it off because I was like live commenting. But also, Jesus,
God damn it!
Some of those takes. I don't know what was worse.
I'm also doing a show with our buddy Frenchie on Thursday nights. I believe we may have a show coming this week. I'm not sure, but we just had one about NHL jerseys and collecting them and stuff like that. And that was really fun. That was a fun hour we did. Like looking at that one behind you, and I would say, oh my God, come on.
Don't believe you, Dave. No.
Yeah,
Chambers. Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh boy. No good.
Anyways, Below Hollows one.
I'm all over the place.
They don't do anything at that. Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll wrap it up. We're yelling about everything now.
Yeah, we're turning on each other.
And we're definitely turning on Dave. That's for sure. But also, that whole thing was an entire exercise in watching 50 freak out about the third Fantastic Beasts movie, and that might be worth watching the entire stream for. So I hope everybody, if any of those things interest you, you can find all our friends at the aforementioned places. You can find all of our shows here. Hope that you like and subscribe, and we hope you join us next week for episode 4 of season 2.
2-4.